All right, guys, try something a little different. I had sold all my tractors, made pretty good money on all of them, even the last Murray, which not sure if there's a video up yet for that or not. So was not really able to find any more. So what I did was I just put up a listing saying that I would buy or free removal of your unwanted lawn and garden stuff. So, you know, Facebook actually took it down within a day because they said since I wasn't selling anything, I couldn't have it listed under the selling section. Whatever. Probably about 10 people messaged me. 2 actually turned out to be something that I got. So basically what I got was this tractor right here. This is a Pull-In Pro something. It's a manual drive, manual PTO, so you know, probably like a $1,500 tractor when it's new. This is the Toro hood for this one right here, and the other hood is over there. This one, another 42-inch, kind of the same grade machine. This one has a Kohler Courage 18 horse on it, which you know, long story short, I think both motors are junk. I paid $40 for, in total, for this whole tractor, that whole tractor, this what looks to be a rear drive push mower. I didn't realize that till just now. With what seems to be you know, it's a free motor as far as like it spins freely and it seems to have some compression, and these 3 string trimmers right here, and a brand new carb that will go on, like, you know, any of those Briggs and Stratton engines, which are 20 bucks if you buy one of those off Amazon. That right there was the price of admission. And the other thing, probably the biggest thing that I'm actually going to go get today, the guy I bought the Toro from also was including an X-Mark walk behind, like, commercial, you know, 0-turn type deal. Definitely, I mean, it has a Kawasaki motor on it that's locked up, so he says. I'm going to take his word on that, because it is some kid that, you know, I think has like a little lawn business. He was using this one until it died the other day, and he just kind of wanted to get, you know, because I originally was going to give him $100 for this one, because it, in the pictures and what he was saying about it, it seemed like it was pretty good. But when I got there and saw that the engine had a fire on top of it at some point right here, and the cover was a little bit melted. The cover would be salvageable, you know, just a little bit melted. He said this was something unrelated, just, yeah, I don't really know what he did, but who knows, stuff 20-year-old kids do, I guess. Laid a firework on top of it or something, I'm not sure, I forget what he said. And this thing, when you turn it on, it only shows like 151 hours, and it says change the oil. So, I mean, really low hour tractor. And I think I saw, yeah, 2006. Battery seems to be good, so there's a $20 battery on it right there. All 4 tires are holding air, and then you can kind of tell the hours on something just by looking at the tire tread, especially the front. From what I've been doing this year, you know, I mean, these are all nice and meaty and evenly worn. The engine, these Kohler Courage, you know, I don't really know that you can say there's a bad small engine. But if there was going to be one that took that honor, I think the Kohler Courage seems to be it for a few reasons. One is obviously this weird valve cover thing leaks on all of them, evidently, and you can replace the cork gasket in there and it'll still leak. So I guess the fix is just to use like a RTV on it and make sure you clean it up. What had happened to this one, I think it overheated. There was a lot of debris all kind of caked in here. I kind of scraped a lot of it out, and took so basically what the kid said was, as he was using it, it just kind of shut off, and then when you would go to crank it, it kind of seemed like it had a weak battery, which it did, but I don't think that was the reason. You know, it was running and then it died. So what I found was, when I pulled the cover off, the exhaust rocker had slipped off, and the like the stud that holds it on had kind of like unscrewed and backed out. So I kind of put it all back together, tighten it down. You know, they both are working, both valves are opening and closing. It spins over. It spins, but it doesn't sound like it has much compression. It seems like there's a little bit of compression, and I can, you know, I checked for spark. It's got spark, and I can smell gas when I crank it for a while. So it's getting everything. I just think it doesn't have enough compression to run. So basically, it's a boat anchor. I don't think it's worth trying to fix a Kohler Courage engine. This is junk, I think. I don't think this thing is worth fixing at all. You know, this is by far the newest. Well, the guy said this was a 2015. I have not checked on that yet. I don't know if I believe that, because the tires are already dry rotted, and like this side was leaking out of the, like the cracks in the side of the tire, which it seems like 6 years is not enough for that to be happening. I don't know. It's hard to say. So no battery on this one. He was this guy was a, you know, mechanic that I bought this from. I work with, well, no, let me not say anything nice. Or not, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all, right? Anyway, so he got this thing when it was about a year old. I guess the guy that originally, or the person that originally had it, never put oil on it. So the original engine that was on this thing, which was a 19.5 horse Briggs, is long gone, and this is a 14.5 Briggs, which is the same engine that's been on the Murrays that I've had and stuff like that. But this is locked up solid. More than likely another boat anchor. Some good parts on the tractor that I think I can, you know, save. I think the deck is fine. If the motor is blown, I don't think it's worth trying to repair the motor for a tractor that's going to be $400 to $500 when it's all working, unless it's something that I can do easily. But if I have to like tear it all down, it's just not worth it. So, you know, there's probably, you know, the starter's probably fine. The mower deck will be fine. I'll probably just save some things like the steering wheel, obviously the mower deck, you know, and the guy said, you know, you're just saving me a trip to the dump. So I kind of knew what I was getting, but originally, you know, he said, take it all for 50. When I kind of saw it, I was like, you know, I'll give you 20. And he's like, that's fine. So thought I'd try this, see what kind of value I can get out of spending 40 bucks and probably about 2 hours of me driving places. All right, so I just took the cover off of this 14.5 horse Briggs here, and I just want to see what failed. Like, why is it locked up? The belts don't seem to be tight underneath. You know, they're not like binding up or anything. And if I grab it, like, I can hear metal. You know, it's not like it's rubbery, if that makes sense. Like, it's metal holding in place. Now I just see that the starter gear is still engaged, so I'm going to take the starter off just to kind of rule that out. I kind of come to the conclusion that a Briggs & Stratton engine on a lawnmower is kind of like a small block Chevy. They're like not, it's like, it's kind of like the cheapest engine you can get. Well, up until like Harbor Freight came around, it's probably like the, you know, the cheapest engine you can get, but they kind of are indestructible. I mean, you know, obviously up to a point, but you know, you start getting into like the, you know, the Kohler Commands, like that's a little bit better, and then anything Kawasaki is like another tier above that, you know. But these Briggs, I mean, I'd rather just see a Briggs & Stratton on a tractor than a Kohler at this point, because I feel like the couple Kohlers that I've dealt with have had issues where the Briggs just always seem like they run. So this one will be the first that I've seen that actually does not, I think. But what this guy did tell me was that he let it sit out in the rain all winter, and it had water in the oil. I haven't even checked the oil on it yet. I don't really even care. It's kind of irrelevant right at this point right now. He drained the oil out, filled it up with new oil. It ran for, I don't know, a few minutes, and then it just died and was locked up. So you know, definitely some kind of catastrophic failure inside, I'm guessing. But we're just gonna see if we can figure out what it was that let go. Starter's out of the way. The battery's not in this thing. Still locked up. And like, you know, I just noticed that he only had one screw in the coil. I mean, you know, come on. And I don't even think he has like a screen over the intake here. There's no air filter or anything, so this thing didn't stand a chance, really. I mean, if it just poured water down in there all year, you can't expect much. Let's take the valve cover off. Helpful, and the valve cover. I mean, there's so many little things that will nickel and dime you if you need to buy it. I smell gas in there. Both the valves open and close, and the lash seems okay, so I don't see a problem there. Okay, the guy with the zero turn X mark thing is on his way back, so I'm gonna probably, I got 40 minutes, go get that at some point. And I can see why that one locked up. I guess I'll pull the muffler off. Might as well take the coil off, but these are Allens. It's probably gonna be the size I don't have in here, of course. Yep, if I cared about this, I wouldn't try it, but the 6mm Allen's a little bit loose. But we don't care, so. There it goes. Alright, that can just sit there like that. Carburetor off. Pouring some gas out of it. Don't know if I can just take the head off without undoing any of this or not, but we're gonna try it. They look like 1/2 inch. Oh, it had some like Permatex in there or something. Interesting. Maybe this has been off before. No, it's all the bolts I see. Oh yeah, he just used all right, so very basic engine. You know, you got your 2 rocker arms and your 2 that push on the valves. This is what they look like inside. So your smaller one is the exhaust valve, and that's how they open. And that's the intake valve. And this is carbon, all this black stuff. This is when people say you have a lot of carbon in your engine. This is the kind of stuff that they're talking about. This is just normal. That is a cylinder head in its most basic form. And then we got your piston right here. Like, this should not be on here. This would be the head gasket right here, but for whatever reason, this guy decided to help it a little bit with some like RTV type stuff. You know, it doesn't seem right. I don't think this is our problem. You know, there's some movement to the piston, kind of more just rock side to side. To get any further, I may have to take it off of here. I think I will stop, go get the other mower, and come back, and then I'll pull this off of here, and we'll just flip it over and see if we can take it apart any further. All right, so I got the engine flipped over, and I took the cover off. I pulled this is the camshaft. It just sits in there. It's just held in by the bottom cover, but that just something fell off. Not sure. Okay, I think this is part of that decompression valve thing. But you know, nothing in here looks catastrophic. I did find, so I just pulled out the oil slinger / governor. That all looks fine. I did notice that I forget which was which, because again, I'm not really too interested in putting it back together, but this one definitely got bent a little bit. So something collided, even though the lifters, I guess is what you'd call that, they seem just fine, move just fine. So I was gonna see if I could just kind of get a pry bar in here and try to push this, because it still is pretty much locked up. See if I can kind of push it a little bit. It did have either water or gas in the crankcase when I drained it. It was definitely full of something that was not very viscous. So it's like, you know, but it doesn't really look that bad though. So I'm not really sure why it's just completely seized up. I don't see any big chunks of anything in there. And even what I can see of the cylinder bore doesn't look that bad. It's pretty much all the way at the top right here. If I can slip this back over it and try to work it a little bit. No, it's nothing to hold it still though. And I tried doing this before from the top basically. All right, let me think a little bit. This one bolt right here, I'm going to take that out and see if that does anything for us. All right. So this comes off. I think this is a counterweight. Definitely did not help us free anything up. Whatever this is. Oops, yeah, that lifts off of there. Yeah, that's okay, so that's free. So that's not holding us up. So what is? It must be something under the flywheel is what it kind of seems like. Maybe I need to turn it back over and work on the top side a little bit more. Well, I guess I could loosen the rod bearings, rod caps, and see if I can get the piston to free up a little bit. It's going to be a little hard to get in there though. I can get this one. Not sure what size those are. All right. 8mm works. I don't think that's what it actually is, because I think these are all standard. I guess I actually do have a straight shot at both of those, don't I? It's just completely open right there. So I could just be using a socket. I kind of, you know, just trying to see like what failed and if I can make it run again. Like not to actually use it, but just see if whatever it is we could get it to just run again for a little bit and just, you know, say we did. And, you know, I mean, maybe we get lucky and it is something that can be fixed. Well, it doesn't So far, I don't see anything catastrophic in here at all. Nothing just let go completely. I know you probably can't see what I'm doing right here, but I'm just taking the 2 bolts out that basically connect the connecting rod to the piston to the crankshaft, so I can theoretically separate those 2 and see if it's frozen in here or if it's still down here where it's frozen. This is really exciting. This thing does look like it has a brand new starter solenoid on it, which, you know, it seems like those things just go out pretty regularly, so, you know, it's a good part to throw in the stash. Oh my lord, how long is this thing? I might actually get to the point where I do get it jammed up in here. I need like a 1-inch extension is what I need. It's really easy just to keep backing your bolt out and not realizing that you're backing your ratchet up against something. And what you end up doing is you can't get to the direction, so you literally back yourself into a corner or into a wall and you can't get it out. So the ones that have it down at the bottom, you know, kind of like this, instead of like just like a you know, I don't know, one up here, do help that a little bit. I guess the really cheap ones still have it like that. I mean, this is a Pittsburgh, so it's pretty cheap, but they kind of mimic Snap-on a little bit. All right, so that is 1 bearing cap. Now that does not look good. You do not want to see that. Yeah, there's a failure. That should be nice and shiny and machined. So this is oil starvation right here. So that's probably our biggest issue that we have. I can separate that a little bit. Still can't turn the whole thing. I may just have to really put like a big breaker bar on it and just try to turn it a little bit to get it more straight. But yeah, it's toast. That's complete failure. That's what it caused, you know, that's an engine locking up basically. You've got metal on metal so much that it eats away anything that, you know, there's supposed to be a film of oil between this and the journal on here, which if I can get this thing out, I can show you. And once that oil goes away, that's what happens. And it seizes up. Throw this back on real quick. Keep losing my rag. Keep losing everything, but that's the one I've lost right at this moment. And it's like it's in the same place every time. It's sitting on top of the other mower every single time. I mean, I suppose I could save some of these parts because they're actually all still good. Like that. This is the cam. I mean, these are the cam lobes. So as it spins around, this is what's actually pushing up on the push rods, or ultimately opening and closing the valves is these lobes right here. But these don't look that bad. You can have it where these are, the egg-shaped part of it is completely knocked off of it and it's just a circle. I mean, I see some wear on it, but it's not terrible. Not much to these things. I mean, it's just a little single cylinder, you know, like a 14 or 15 horse Briggs. But, you know, that's it. That's basically all there is to it. I guess then put one of those in. This thing was just leaking oil all over the place. And if they have gas in them, then they will leak easier because the gas is just so thin. I have found that. Just put that in there. Let's see if I can throw 2 of these bolts back in here. Oh, we're already moving. Look at that. Oh, why couldn't I do that from below? Yeah, so that may have done the whole thing. So, alright, well, I just had to grab something a little bit heftier to try to turn it. Oh God. Yeah, you can cross thread. It just has like Loctite on it or something. They all kind of did. All right, so we could turn this. There we go. Let me get this thing out of here. We don't need this where we're going. These are all the fins for the air-cooled part of the, this is how this engine is cooled. There's air is forced over all these fins from this fan shroud on the top. It doesn't have a radiator with coolant. It just kind of bypasses the water portion of it, the coolant portion of it. Just does it directly through blowing air right over the fins instead of the fins being on a radiator, like sitting over here somewhere and having the coolant transfer the heat from the engine to the radiator. You're just kind of eliminating that one step, and it's just right here. So it kind of does it the same way. It just is more simple. Okay, so yeah, our piston is down now, and that looks okay in there. So if I turn this, I don't really want to pull the piston out because then I won't be able to put it back in I don't have any piston ring squeezers here. Oh yeah, the journal is just toast on that. So if we lubed it up really good, we might be able to make it run, but we'll see. So not sure how well that is going to come through, but this right here is the journal that the connecting rod attaches to. So this is the crankshaft, this whole thing right here. And then right there is where the connecting rod is right there. It comes around and this goes on this side of it. That's what I just took off a minute ago. And basically, you see how nasty that looks. The journal looks exactly the same. So that was the failure, oil starvation. And those pieces just got completely seized to each other. Now, if I really coat these things with oil, put it back together, it might run. It's gonna knock though. And it probably won't run for very long. But we might just say, what the hell, just go ahead and see if we can do something with it. And I mean, you know, theoretically, I could just, no, it's not worth it. I'm sure by the time you bought a new connecting rod and a new crankshaft, you'd probably be in for a couple $100 and it's not worth it. But it's got a good camshaft and a good oil slinger that I can hang on to that I might be able to use on something else. I guess I'll put it back together and see if it still wants to spin. You know, if it still wants to spin, then maybe we'll see if we can get it to run. But that's where I'm going to stop this for right now.